I'm Amy, thank you for tuning in. This video is my June TBR pile, and as you will see, I've been a little bit ambitious. I haven't been reading that much on average this year, but I'm going away in June, so that usually means that I'll read a few more books. And also, as I was trying to figure out what I wanted to read this month, I just saw so many great books that I thought, well, why not put them all on the pile? I know I probably won't read them all, / definitely won't read them all, but at least this way I've got plenty of choices of things that I'm really excited about. So let's get into it. First up, a book that I've started reading. It's really good. This is Lex Croucher's second YA book, I think. They write a mixture of adult and YA, usually set in kind of pseudo-historical time periods or specific historical time periods. This one is based on the Robin Hood legend, and it sounds like it is a sapphic version of it from what I've read so far. I love Lex's writing. It just feels really effortless and fluid and really funny, and this one is just delightful so far. I love the characters. I love the kind of female and sapphic slant that this book seems to be going in, so I'm very excited to continue. Next up, I've been collecting the Stephen King Ultimate Storyteller editions, and I realised that I haven't actually read that many of them. They're looking really lovely on my shelves, but that isn't the main purpose for me buying them. So I have never read Lacey Story, I think you pronounce it. And this is one that seems to come up on people's list of Stephen King books that they enjoy. I like the cover. I'm not going to read the blurb because I don't know anything about it. This has burned me recently with Stephen King books because there are a couple of tropes that Stephen King quite likes, such as things happening to children that I'm not a fan of. So we'll see if this could be a swift DNF, if there's anything like that in there, but I'm hoping not. So let me know in the comments to warn me if you think that this isn't going to be one that I will like. But I'm excited about giving these Ultimate Storytellers a go because there's loads of Stephen King books. I don't realise until I look at the shelves that I realise there's loads of them that I actually haven't read. This has been on my TBR so many times and I really want to get to it. I've been having a dark academia moment, and I really think that this one is described as sort of dark academia but really weird and unpredictable. I think this one's going to really hit the spot for what I'm looking for. I'm sort of having a thing of really enjoying books that are quite quirky and different, and this one hopefully should fit the bill. Next, I pre-ordered Steintingler's and then promptly haven't read it, and I really enjoyed Steintingler's 2, sorry. I really enjoyed the first book of R.L. Stein's short stories. What I love about these books, I mean, I'm sure he's written other short stories, but in this particular series, what I love about these is that there's a little bit of description for each story of what inspired R.L. Stein to write it, and I'm so fascinated by insights into writing. So the stories were great, but the little description just gave it that little extra bit for me. This is a book that I picked up last month or the month before, thought I was going to enjoy it, and then promptly didn't read any more than the first chapter, so no excuses. I really want to read this one this month. This might be a contender to take on holiday. And Against the Darkness, I don't know why I haven't read this yet. I pre-ordered it and I think it's only available in the US, so it didn't arrive on publication day. It arrived a week or two later, but usually I'd pick up these books and devour immediately. But I think last month I had various things happen, like proofs arrive, books that I needed to blurb. So this one, my most anticipated read for the month, did not get read. In case anybody's wondering, is the third book in Kendara Blake's Buffyverse books, following Willow's daughter, who is a witch and also a slayer, and they're just a delight so far. I've absolutely loved them. I think Kendara Blake really understands the Buffyverse more than even some of the great authors that have been writing in it lately. So that one, I'm super excited. This one I need to read because it's a library book and they've said that I can't renew it because somebody else is waiting. And it's Babel. Please tell me in the comments how you pronounce this because I've seen it pronounced both ways. It's won so many awards, it's got great accolades, and I'm really enjoying dark academia at the moment, so I'm hoping I enjoy this. It's quite long, so I'm hopeful that I will get through it before I need to take it back to the library. Next, I keep pre-ordering Christina Henry books and I still haven't read one. I'm not as interested. I think she's written some fantasy and maybe fairy tale retellings in the past, but it's the horror ones I'm really looking forward to trying. This one I think is the most recent, The House That Horror Built. I'm assuming Haunted House. I'm not going to read the blurb because I quite like going into horror with no idea what's going to happen. But I'm excited. I've heard really good things about Christina Henry, and the authors that I'm discovering lately seem to be very specifically female horror authors are just really kind of hitting the spot of what I enjoy at the moment. I've enjoyed reading Rachel Rachel Kane. I do love Rachel Kane, not the right Rachel. Rachel Harrison, that's what I was trying to say. I've loved reading Rachel Harrison and Catriona Ward books this past 6 months or so, so I'm hoping I can add Christina Henry to the list. Also in the Buffyverse, I bought this one last year, I think, when it came out. And it was from Forbidden Planet, a signed copy. I don't know if they still have any, but check it out if you're interested. It's a Tara prequel. I really enjoyed the Spike prequel by William Ritter, so I'm hoping we get a little bit of Tara's backstory in this, because anybody who's a big Buffy fan like me, we got one Tara episode, I think, where we kind of delved into her history and her challenging relationship with her family, so I'm hoping we'll get a little bit more of a look into that. Next up, another library book. This one I'm about a third of the way through. I really enjoyed Ninth House when I read it. This continues the story of Alex Galaxy Stern, and I don't really want to say anything about the plot because it'll spoil it if you haven't read the first one. But to give you a broad picture, it's very much about secret societies. It's set at Yale University, a kind of real version of Yale, but also with imagined aspects. And the Ninth House is Leith House, who Alex works for, and they kind of keep an eye on the other houses and make sure that the magic that they're using isn't getting out of hand. I love Alex as a character. She has got kind of a really dark past. She's been through some really difficult things, and she's come out of it kind of a strong, resilient person, but also with some stuff that she needs to work through. So I'm enjoying this. It's quite slow pace, which I seem to think Ninth House was, and I still enjoyed it. So let's hope that I enjoy this one as much. I started this one. I've had a weird start with this book. I think, again, I've read probably a quarter to a third of it, and I was buddy reading it with somebody who since DNF'd it, and I haven't picked it up just because it was quite slow paced. I haven't been feeling it, but I really want to get to it this month and hopefully finish it. This one I was on a blog tour for, which I don't often do now because I'm predominantly writing my own books and reading books kind of my choice, or books that I'm blurbing, so I don't often accept books for review in the same way that I used to, but this one sounded so good. I'd seen it around on social media. I really wanted to give it a go. It's kind of like a Vampire Hunger Games, but an adult book. I'm guessing it's adult. It seems a little spicy so far, or a suggestion of spice, if you will. I was hoping to finish it by the blog tour, and it just didn't happen. But I reviewed it on the basis that I'm enjoying the first sort of half-ish of the book. It is about a human who has been entered into this competition to kind of get sort of like a wish granted or an accolade from a goddess. Everybody else in the competition is a bloodthirsty vampire, and she's just trying to survive. And she's fallen in with a couple of vampires, one of whom she is having some tension with. Speaking of Catriona Ward, I've read her books out of order. So I read Looking Glass Sound, I think maybe last year, and really enjoyed it. I know that this was the one that kind of catapulted her into a lot of people's awareness. I've heard it's brilliant and quirky and strange, so I'm hopeful that it's going to be everything I'm looking for. And then The Final Gambit, a book that has been on my TBR pile loads of times. It's part of the Inheritance Game series, and for some reason I've just not picked it up. I really enjoyed book 1 and 2. Read them pretty close together and then proceeded to not read book 3. I've got this strange thing with series, as says she who's written a series, where if I really enjoy it, sometimes I don't want to finish it because then it's over. And I know that there's been, I think it's called The Brothers Hawthorne, which is, The Brothers Hawthorne even, which is a spin-off as opposed to continuing the story. But I'm not quite ready for this series to end, but I'm just going to be brave and try and get it read. So that is it, my huge TBR pile. Please help me in the comments. Let me know which one do you think I should read, if there's any that you are excited about. As always, likes and subscribes are really appreciated, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.